right here in the studio with us, we have the original outlaw, A.K. Scruff, A.K. Bobby Allen. Bobby, thanks for coming on the show here with us at Race Night.
I'm glad to come, thank you.
Okay, and of course, to his right, co-host Stacy Eastwood, back again with us for another week. First, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Rick's Towing out of Gettysburg and Davidson Motor Company. Also out of Rick's Towing out of Biglerville, Davidson Motor Company out of Gettysburg. I'll get this right yet, folks. I'm telling you, it's one of those days. Thank you guys for helping us out here and keeping us going one more night here on Race Night. A couple announcements here first. We're putting together, with the cooperation of MCM Racing Collectibles out of New Oxford, we are putting together a Race Night spring coloring contest. This is for ages 3 to 5,
6 to 9, 10 to 12.
6 to 9, and 10 to 12. So children from 12 and under are allowed to enter this coloring contest. We're putting together the details right now. The way it looks, folks, when you go to the tracks this weekend at Lincoln Speedway, at Williams Grove Speedway, and we're going to try and get some up at Trailway Speedway. We're going to have little pamphlets, the entering forms, and of course the sprint car that needs to be colored, and we'll have the address and everything to send back in here at a later date. Of course, we will post all the pictures up here on our backdrop, and we'll judge them. MCM Racing Collectibles out of New Oxford put up some real neat prizes. Everyone that enters will receive a prize, and of course there'll also be prizes awarded for different categories in the coloring contest. So that's something that we're really excited about here, try and get some more kids involved with this program. We're going to have some of the entry forms up here at the studio. We don't have them right now. In fact, Matt Musselman's in the studio right now, and we're going to work on this right after the program. Just stay tuned here to ACTV, and you'll see more about this contest coming up in the next couple weeks. That's right here on Race Night. A couple other announcements. The Eastern Museum of Motor Racing opens back up for the season on April 6th. That's the 2002 season. The Eastern Museum of Motor Racing is a really awesome place. If you haven't been up there, there's a lot of people that are around this area that actually don't even know where it's at, probably. Right up off 15 on the other side of York Springs. Follow the signs. It is an awesome place to go. The museum is open. Of course, it will open on April 6th. And it is open every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Great place to go and look at race cars from years past, and some even up to the present. They just added on a new addition onto the building up there. Really great. That was opened up the end of last season. Folks, you got to get up to the Eastern Museum of Motor Racing. Spend some time and go through it. Talk with the people up there. They got a full library. If there's anything you want to know about racing in the years past, you will be able to find it up there at the museum. Just an awesome place. Let's see, a couple things here over the weekend. Rain. That's it. Rain. Lincoln Speedway got their one rain out feature from the previous week made up this week, and then it rained again.
It only took about 3 hours.
And that only took about 3 or 4 hours to get that program in. To run 25 laps. Once all the fog cleared, if you will, Lance DeWeese captured his first win here in the Eastern PA area this past weekend at Lincoln Speedway. Everything else was washed out. Yep. Thundercar makeup feature didn't happen. That'll be made up again this coming week.
Everybody keep your tickets from last week.
Everybody hold on to those rain checks from last week. They will be honored. Of course, Williams Grove didn't rain out. It blew out from the wind and the cold. Williams Grove canceled their program, and I think Trailways Speedway was their opening day on Saturday afternoon, and from what I understand, that program didn't get in either. So this coming weekend, you have Lincoln Speedway at 2 p.m. with the Make-Up Thundercar feature and the full program. You have Williams Grove Speedway at 2 p.m. for the 410 sprint cars.
Saturday? Or Sunday?
On Sunday.
Sunday.
And Saturday, Trailway Speedway will be back in action with, let me get this straight, 250, 600s, 4-cylinders, legend cars, and then open practice, I'm assuming will take place after they run the 4 events at Trailway Speedway. That's on Saturday. That program will be starting at 1 p.m. Now, Saturday at Trailway Speedway, of course, Stacy and I will be there. We've been cordially invited by Mr. Don Stevens, which is a dealer for the legend cars out of Carlisle, and he claims that I can fit in one of these cars and be able to drive it. And when we were, I guess it was down in York at the car show, he proposed that Stacy and I show up for this practice day and that we are going to take a couple time laps to see who can turn a quicker lap around
We're not allowed to
Trailways.
race
We're not allowed to
together.
race together.
They said
but
no.
if I can fit in a car and get the steering wheel snapped to one of my knees out of the way, I'll drive one, and of course we'll put Stacy in one, and they're going to time us and just see who can get around the new and improved Trailway Speedway the quickest in one of the legend cars. I'm looking forward to it. How about
Me
you,
too.
Steve?
I am. I even forgot it was this week until you reminded me. But yeah, I'm really excited to get to Trailways anyway. So
It'll be neat.
I look forward to it.
It'll be a great time up at Trailways on Saturday afternoon. Some other neat and great exciting things, and this is something I just found out this weekend. I heard about it, but I didn't realize how sanctioned this was. Bobby Allen, of course, of Allen's Cartway down in Hanover, come up and explained to me about the, I guess you could call it sanctioned races, money races down at Allen's Cartway in Hanover that anybody can get involved with. Am I right?
Right.
Okay, could you tell us a little bit about, tell the folks a little bit about what's going on down there at Allen's Cartway?
Well, we started running this winter. We started running races that pay $100 to win and pay a little purse back, and then and we based it off how many people show up. So then we decided to have some bigger races, maybe 3 or 4 times this year, and we've got 3 races paying at least $500 to win, and it's grown to $700 to win, plus it's paying lap money. Pay $700 to win plus lap money, $200 for second, $100 for third, 50, 30, 20, and 10. And we decided to do it the first Saturday that Lincoln went to Saturday night, so we could run it Saturday afternoons, and the rest of the races are done more or less when the Outlaws come in. But we do it in the way that we run my go-karts there, the ones we call midgets. They're like little race cars. We make the racetrack the best we can, where it has 2 grooves, and you can race just like the way that I used to race, and it feels the same. You can run high or low. It's slippery. And it's how you drive the cars that makes a big difference. And we started doing this back in the winter, running the inside and outside, and then it's developed into where we think we can run these races and pay a little purse. We got a few little sponsors out of it to help pay the purse, and it's been fun. It feels good. We actually, the people came over after Lincoln's first race. They came over and watched our race there, and they said, "Heck, that was just as good a race."
Now, you have races set down here for, it looks like every Saturday in March, in the evening, and then of course, like you said, when Lincoln switches over to their nighttime shows, then you're running Wednesday night shows at 7 p.m.
Yeah, I'm doing during the summer because I like to run the races at night. They seem like they're better at night, and I like to run them at night. And also, it doesn't interfere with during the summertime. That's when more people come out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to run the go-karts. Well, to run these races, I don't call them really money-making things. I do it more to act like how racing really was. So I'll run them during the summer on Wednesday nights. And then, because a lot of people that come to these races like to go to the races, so it kind of interferes with it.
Right.
And then my Saturday afternoons are when I actually make money at the go-kart track, so I didn't want to do that during the summer. So I'll run them on Wednesday nights. Now in May, when the Outlaws come in, I'll run that on a Saturday afternoon because I want the Outlaws and I want a lot of the people that come in the races to come there to run to be part of it because they're fun.
Mm-hmm. And you get a lot of outlaw participation in this for that Saturday, or?
Well, I've never done these races before when the Outlaws were in. So this time we're going to get it, and I'm hoping to have a few of the guys down. I have a problem with a little bit of it because race drivers, when they run this deal, like sprint car drivers, etc., or when they come run it, they're used to being able to work on their own cars and do everything. These cars here, they just have, it's by luck of the draw, it's where they start, they got another little cars a little bit. Well, they'll come there and run if they come with their group and you say, "Bobby, give me the best car." They like that then. But they're afraid they might go away and not be the hero with their group.
Right.
So they're a little intimidated now. New young drivers, they don't care. They're there anytime.
Right. Now, of course, this is open for the public. to come down and drive for the entry fees, whatever pertains to that race, correct? And for spectators, it's free for spectators to come down and watch?
Oh yeah, people can watch it. It's actually a go-kart place, and I try to make them run like race cars, feel like race cars, be the same thing. We have trophy girls, we have trophy when they win. We pay a little prize money. I mean, we try to make it feel just like real racing. So the people that the wannabe race drivers or the race drivers can run with each other and do it. I mean, I like running them.
Now, is there an age limit?
Well, actually,
For the races.
I don't do it by age. I do it by, on the money races, they got to weigh at least 125 pounds. And then I have 2 cars, I call them big boy cars. If they're 275 pounds, they're the only ones allowed to run them in the races because I have bigger motors in them, so it kind of equals it out.
Right.
So it gives a heavier guy a little bit of a better chance.
Right. And now, how many, on the average, how many guys do you get to show up for competition?
Well, the races we ran in the winter, we had anywhere from 11 to 20 people run the races. The race we got coming up on the 23rd, we figure we're going to have 30 to 50 people.
Wow. You talked on Saturday a little bit about hoping towards the end of the year to come up with a big race, like a national open, if you will.
Well, Saturday, September the 28th here, I got a race that's paying $1,000 to win. But we figured by if it works as well as we think it'll work and it goes good all summer, we're hoping the race pays at least $2,000 to win.
Wow.
Wow.
That's spectacular for a go-kart
If we
track.
get it up to $2,500 to win, it'd be 1/10 of the Grove National, so that'd be pretty big.
It's big. That is big. And that was that 75 laps?
No, we run this race. That race will be 50 laps. We run the other races 40 laps to win. I like Knoxville's way of running the races on the short side, make it a little more exciting. Because that way, the way we do the program, we have a wheel that you spin. If they had 30 people show up for the race, we'd run 3 heats of 10 in each heat. And they spin for their car. They're pre-lined. And they spin for the car, picks their car, and then how they finish in the heat, they get to pick their car for the feature and the consies and et cetera. And I just feel it's the fairest and easiest way to do it.
So if you got a sharp eye, you can actually keep an eye on the cart that you think that might be good on that
Right.
day.
If you won the first heat, and in the feature time, you get to pick your car, then you can pick that car, whether it starts up front or the back. And that's why I run the race 40 laps, because you might be able to pick a car starting third and be able to take the lead and run the race to your best, and a guy might pick the car that starts at the back that might be what we call the quickest car, and he might not make it. I ran a race 2 weeks ago, started on the outside pole, and I led it to 5 laps to go. But I had one of the last picks.
Wow.
So knowing the cars help.
334-3000 is the number, folks. Bobby Allen on deck talking about some exciting things down at Allen's Speedway, Allen's Kartway down in Hanover. Now, of course, Bobby, as everyone would know, you've been involved in racing for many, many years. And of course, I'm sure that's one of the driving forces behind this. You ran some go-karts in your younger years, am I correct?
Yeah, when I was really young, I was a world go-kart champion and got to go to Europe and different places, and that, that's what got me started in all this, and running little half midgets down in Florida for Jim Rathman, who won the Speedway, and just that kind of stuff. That's how when you're young in school, it makes you, at that time I wanted to go to Indianapolis, and so I came up here because they ran 3 or 4 times a week, and at that time your sprint cars were the way to go, and these cars were like sprint cars, so I came up here and ran. Then I became kind of like a lone ranger, doing it all myself.
Okay, we got a phone call. Let's see what's up. Hi, welcome to Race Night. You're on the air.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Will Bobby be giving any crack or cocaine or stolen goods away at these races?
I don't think that'll be on the prize list. Okay. Good race fan, I guess. After you got out of the go-karts, and of course you ran some races down in Florida in the sprint cars, correct? Is that where you got started?
Well, I actually got started, after the go-karts, they were called modifieds. I ran down there at Hialeah, Hollywood. I'm from Miami. That's where I'm originally from. And I raced Hollywood Speedway, and it was called Palmetto Speedway, and Hialeah Speedway a little bit with these modifieds.
Okay. You were telling us about, of course, you're known as the original outlaw, and you were talking to us a little bit before we started the show about how you went out and started traveling around a little bit. Could you tell us that story a little again? About how
Well,
how you got started?
Well, when I was a go-kart racer, I was the same way. We go to run all these big races. So when I came up here, and I actually started racing here, I bought a car that I ran asphalt, came up here and ran here. And I ran here a little bit, went back home, and then I seen the dirt car was different, so we built another car, and then I started driving for Charlie Hill, and I ran around the tracks here. Well, I was always for a promoter that paid more money, so anytime a promoter paid more money, I would go run that race. And then they had races in Ohio, or I'd go all over. So, and then I noticed I went to Knoxville's race, I went to different races, and Phoenix, we go out to Phoenix to run these races, and when you go to these races, we were Ferkel, myself, and other, Bubby Jones, different guys would travel to go run these races. So, well, at the time, the Outlaws wasn't around, but Ted Johnson, he wanted to have like a band of guys go to different races, and he called Ferkel, he called myself, I think Debbie May, and a couple of them asked if we'd come down to race at Shreveport. And he had an idea of maybe 4 or 5 of us guys going to a race, getting a couple bucks to show up, and him getting a couple bucks, and etc. Well, then as time went on, that kind of fell apart, and then we had a race at Lincoln Speedway where I had Ted come up because seemed like he was that kind of a person that liked to do that. And we had Chuck Amati and Sammy and different guys come to run Lincoln, and actually the show was pretty successful, and we've seen that kind of thing happening. Well, then one day, Doug Wolfgang, Bob Trussell had a write-up in Speed Sport. If anybody was king of the Outlaws, it should be Doug Wolfgang. And W. May and I said, well, that's not fair. It should be, because he won 42 races, and out there they wasn't running like back here is where they paid the most money. The competition was strong, and we thought, well, it should be off somebody that ran races all over that won the most money. And so we called Ted back up and we said, you know, we need to start a point system of the guys that run these outlaw races. And outlaw races were any race that wasn't IMCA, USAC, or et cetera at the time. We said we need to start somehow we need to start a point system for this. He said, well, how could you do that? I said, well, there's only 10 of us that travel that race for money anyway, so why don't you just send letters out to each one and we'll keep you informed. And he said, yeah, it's kind of a good idea. So they started a race in Florida by doing this, and then Lanny Edwards and I think Ferkel and I can't remember the Firestone guy, said they got together and said, well, what you need to do is have any race that paid $2,000 more to win, make that a point race, and that way then it'd be easy to keep track of this. So the first year there was no organization or sanction, which is any race that paid $2,000 more to win. Well, then racetracks never thought they could pay that money. They did around here, but out the road they never thought they could pay it. Well, they paid a race paying $2,000 to win, and all of a sudden they had 6 of us guys show up. Well, they had big crowds, and so they realized they could do that. So the first year we were jumping all over the place, and then they realized they had something, and they told Ted, you need to sanction it, and make it only an outlaw race, and then it evolved from that.
So that's where you got the World of Outlaws.
Yeah,
And
that's how it seemed to evolve. Yeah, it was timing, and it seemed like it was all coming together at the same time.
And I know we had talked earlier, of course, you know, I had 100 questions before the show. Now they're kind of all answered. But the first actual race was in Florida. Am I correct as far as before it was sanctioned, and then once it became sanctioned, they moved it to Texas? Or
Right.
something?
When they first said it, they said, yes, we'll do this. And they said the first race would be considered, the first point thing that started was in Florida. I think it was either East Bay or Volusia County. But then after they talked about it, Lanny Edwards and Ted and Ferkel, and then they talked about it in Dallas. They said, no, we'll make the first race in Dallas. And then that's when they started coming up with this $2,000 to win deal. And then they erased that point leader. I forgot who it was at that time. It was either Jimmy Boyd or somebody was the first original point leader, and then they canceled it out. And then maybe it was Boyd in Dallas. I don't remember that. It was one of them. And then they changed it over to that, and then it started from there.
Okay, let's take a phone call. Hi, Wellman Race Night, you're on the air.
How you doing, Scott?
Are you still there?
Yeah.
Could you turn your TV down, please?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
How you doing, Scott?
All right.
Hey, you gonna run keep like a points system for your carts when you run them, or what?
We talked about it. We haven't done it yet. We haven't done it yet. But we're talking about doing it. If it becomes successful every week and keeps going, yes, we will do a point system.
Oh,
But right now we don't know.
that'd be pretty cool. You think a big guy can get in one of them carts?
It depends on actually We've had big guys like 300 to 400 pounds get them, but if we do have a problem with the guys real tall and big. The taller seems to be more of a problem than big.
How tall are you talking tall? Not tall?
Scott Tall?
Me tall?
Well, no, he could make it in it. Scott could be all right.
Well, if he can fit in, I can fit in.
Okay.
I'm 6'8".
That's tall.
That's tall.
Hey, you giving anything away?
What was that?
You giving anything away in there?
Well, no, not yet, but stay tuned. We just might come up with something here yet before the night's over.
All right.
Okay?
Talk to you later.
Hey, thanks for giving us a call right here on Racing.
Bye.
Bye-bye. 334-3000 is the number, folks. You know, and I talked to Bobby, I said, it was really surprised me because I got on the internet, it was either Sunday or Monday night, and I was looking all over the internet to try and find some stats in your bio, and what's up with this internet? You can find anything on the internet except for past drivers. I mean, unless you go to each and individual site and look on Williams Grove site, Lincoln site, and all the different tracks they have, you know, who won what race. Of course, you were inducted into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame in 1998. Am I correct with that? Something like that?
I don't know, but that was.
I did find that, but what was your most memorable win in your career? Or do you have one? Something that really jumps out at you?
I mean, naturally now, I mean, when you look back, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, all of them, like when you had a race when there was 4 or 5 of you fighting to win, you'd win the race. I mean, I can remember one with Opperman, that was a great race. I mean, it just, I mean, naturally Knoxville, because that has so much prestige, that was a good race. I mean, running second one time at the 50,000 win race, I got to lead the race and blew a head gasket, ran second. Well, I remember that race running second because I blew, but I mean, you know, that's the way it goes. But I don't know, there was races at Lincoln, it just, every place was, it just depends on how the race was, if it was exciting.
You said you really enjoyed the travel part of racing.
Yeah, I loved running the Outlaws or traveling, going from town to town, racing and showing up and running. I used to always say you only needed one joke because you could tell that joke every place you went. You only needed one joke and things like that. But I like the people. I like the racing. It was fun to be able to. I mean, it was a tough game doing. I did it on my own, but it was tough and with people helping me, and it was tough to do it. But it was fun because I was my own boss. If I just wanted to go to an all-star race, I could run that. Or if I wanted to run here, we could go there. It was kind of like being like a lot of freedom, it felt like, you know, because today I see these kids, I mean, I'm glad that their dads are helping them and they got big sponsor and they're racing, but they don't have the freedom I had because they got to listen to their dad, they got to listen to their sponsor. I would go to the race and I see they're under tension. I mean, they love racing, but it just seemed like my way was, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I miss that part of it, yes.
No, we talked about, you know, you'd started racing 12?
Yes.
Okay. And you raced on for 30-some years. Now, in those, once the World of Outlaws got sanctioned, did you stay with them pretty much, or would you kind of, like you say, you know, go race with the All-Stars, or did you stick with one particular group versus another?
No, I was actually, I mean, I love running with the Outlaws. I always like running with the best, but since I was running off whatever I won, that's how I lived by, and that's how I ran the race car. So if a lot of times the racetracks, because I always favored the slicker tracks, I didn't have new motors all the time, and you could go run the All-Star race in Ohio, whatever's running the most races or racetracks I felt I could do the best at, I would jump around and I'd go run them. But naturally, if I'd had the money and I was younger at the time, I'd ran all the outlaw races because I like running with the best. But I did jump around, and I like doing that too.
Okay, we'll take one more phone call yet before we go to a commercial break. Hi, welcome to Race Night. You're on the air.
Scott,
Yes.
for those Kellen things, like, what are you getting the pictures of, like the Keller?
They'll be sprint cars.
Are those sprint cars?
Right, just sprint cars. We couldn't come up with Thunder cars. So the only thing we could find with just the outline was a sprint car. That's why, or we would have went with, you know, a couple different divisions, but it's hard to come up with an outline for a sprint car to color. I'm surprised that Matt was able to do that. So
Were you at Lincoln until they canceled on Saturday?
yes, we got good and wet before we left on.
Nobody was going to catch Mike because he was flying.
Well, we'll look at it this week, and maybe we'll get those programs in.
Nobody was catching Lance either.
Right, Lance, he was moving. He was out there.
Alright.
Okay, well, thanks for giving us a call.
Hey,
Yes.
Is Bobby still running those $20 Ride All Night things on Friday?
Yes, I am. For a couple more weeks, yes.
When's that over?
Probably over by April, then I'll switch it to Thursday nights.
Okay? Thanks for calling. Okay, bye-bye.
Now, what is that for $20 you ride all night?
No, on Friday nights I have a deal. It's mainly for kids that are capable. It's from 6 to 9. I run a deal for $20. They can run. We run either the inside track or the outside track if the weather's right, and they run from 6 to 9, and then I bring pizza and soda in, and they can have that, and they run races or they just run against each other, and we do that through the winter.
Well, that's pretty neat.
Is that for an age group or for
It's
anybody?
not for an age group, but it's
Because I'm a kid.
yeah, you can. You might be able to make it. It's because a lot of times, mostly grown-ups, and sometimes they're a little rough. But I've got 12-year-old and 10-year-old kids that come run it that can drive them. But I wouldn't bring my kid out there that never really rode them before, because we run them pretty fast.
Really?
Okay, we're saying one more phone call yet. Hi, welcome to Race Night. You're on the air.
Hey, hi, Scott, Stacy. Scott, you said here a little bit earlier about Bobby Allen and his career statistics here.
Yes.
I sort of kept track of some of these drivers over the years and stuff, and I was just looking here in my book here at some of his wins and stuff, and he had a remarkable career here. I saw he won. He actually has 25 World of Outlaw wins. He has 36 Williams Grove wins, which I thought that was pretty good. 73 Lincoln Speedway wins.
Wow.
That sticks out really good there. I think that was his best track in his career, and he also has 43 All-Star wins, which that's probably unheard of nowadays, the way the competition is.
Right.
And I want to ask him about his nephew. I saw him up there Saturday. Is he planning on running the local racetracks on a regular basis, or is he gonna go out on the road with some of the bigger shows?
Well, that was his very first race in a sprint car. I mean, first ride, he just got to run warm-up, so he plans definitely to run Lincoln Speedway and around here for a while until he feels like he's capable of running races far away. But that's just a matter of how he feels where he's running. But right now, definitely he'll run around here.
Okay. He's going to run here at Lincoln every Saturday then?
That's his plans as of now, yes.
Okay. Did he start out in go-karts or anything smaller, or is this the first thing?
Well, the only thing he's raced is he's raced at my go-kart track, and he did I can't think of the boys, the one, he went to a couple of them sprint car schools, and paid the $300 or $500 to run a few laps there.
Okay.
That was his first time.
Okay. I want to ask you too. Your view on the World of Outlaws today with the programs they're running and stuff, and as far as the regulars that show up, the organization as a whole growing, or I personally see them going downhill a little bit, and I want your view on it. Do you see it holding still or growing bigger, or do you see it's? I mean, I can see the All-Stars taking over and going ahead of the World of Outlaws.
Well, I don't see that happening. Because the Outlaws, they're the best. I mean, you might be talking because their TV shows went up and down, but I think that's more of a power struggle right now. I think the TVs want to buy the Outlaws out, so they kind of backed them down. I don't know the whole story, but I'm just guessing that. But no, I think the Outlaw races today, they're better than they ever were, and I think they'll always grow.
Okay. And you had experience running local here and with the Outlaws. Like your shows around here, say Lincoln, Williams Grove, and stuff like that. How do you, the competition we have around this area here, how do you base it running out on the road somewhere with the Outlaws? I mean, is it as tough, or?
Well, definitely for a weekly racing area, this is probably be the toughest place to come run, because it seems like the guys, there's about 10 cars that have sufficient money. They have outlaw quality race cars. The only thing I would say is when you have the Outlaws that run different tracks all the time, and it's no different if you had a football team that played 5 times a week against each other, or you had around here where they run once or twice, maybe 3 times a week, and you have the other ones running 5 times a week at different racetracks, and the purses pay a lot more money, it picks the pace up a little bit more. I think the guys are qualified here just as good to run with them, but they don't have that extra push all the time. Not that they don't want to win all the time. I don't want to, because I think these guys are, if they went out the road with them and could run with them, they would fit in the same category. But if you take that same kind of feeling and you go to each racetrack all the time, and with the Outlaw guys, you got them pushing each other all the time to be better and better and better, so it makes them be a little tougher.
Right.
Not that they can't come back. It's hard to beat a guy on his home track, and the guys back here do the best job they can, and they have beat them on occasion. They're definitely good guys back here, but for them to go and run with them guys, they'd have a tougher time than them guys come running here, I would say.
Yeah, right. Okay, thanks, and good luck on your deal up there at the Cartway, and see you at the racetrack, Scott and Stacy.
Okay, Steve.
Hey, thanks.
Thanks for giving us a call with the stats, Steve.
Bye.
Okay. Okay, folks, we're going to break for a short commercial message here, and when we come back, we'll be talking more go-karts and sprint car racing with the famed Bobby Allen.
State law requires that a dog must be under the control of its owner. Letting your dog run unattended is not only illegal, it can bother neighbors or lead to injury to humans or the dog. All dogs 3 months of age must be licensed. Also at 3 months of age, dogs and house cats must have a rabies vaccination.
Make sure your dog has a current license. You may purchase the license at your county's treasurer's office or contact the office for the agent closest to you.
Just Jennifer Gallery has very cool stuff. Just Jennifer Gallery, located on 33 York Street in downtown Gettysburg. Just Jennifer Galleries has a wide selection of pottery, hand-blown glass, candles, and handcrafted silver jewelry from around the world. You can also find accent pieces for the home, antiques, rugs, and great gift ideas. Just Jennifer's represents over 40 artists, such as world-renowned Harley-Davidson artists Scott Jacobs and David Ewell, as well as Native American artist Raymond Yarbaugh of Santa Fe, New Mexico. Stop by Just Jennifer's on the first Friday of every month for First Friday, Gettysburg style. A new artist is featured every month and refreshments are served. Just Jennifer's. Very cool stuff, great prices.
Adelphia Power Link, it's life wide open.
Fluoride, chlorine, how do these fit into H2O? They don't. Roaring Spring bottled water contains only what nature intended, providing a safe and pure resource. Conveniently located on Route 116 off of Route 15, Roaring Spring offers a wide selection of bottle sizes, cooler styles, softening salts, and filters. Our certified representatives can find the product that's perfect for your home or office. Stop by or call today. The best that nature has to offer, from Roaring Spring to you.
You know, when I was a young man, riding a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, oh, that's all I could think of. I mean, that open road, that rumbling engine, the wind in my face.
You had a Harley?
No, I never got it. I spent the money on aluminum siding instead.
Let's go see what Grandma's doing.
Live on race night, real quick here, we were talking, one of the things you brought up is that you do some league racing down at the Cartway.
Yeah, in the wintertime, I do league racing for adults, but I do it for kids. That's my funnest thing I like doing is the kids. Like this year, I had about 7 kids that never really raced before or did anything, and I had about 6 kids that raced before, and they were good too. It's fun, but it's fun to take the kids that never raced and show them how to go around a racetrack, and I'll sit them on my lap and run around there and show them, and they start from being terrible to when they're done, they're actually pretty good. It's exciting. I mean, I actually, when they left, I mean, it was like my kids left me. It was fun, but it's fun to do that stuff, and that goes good in the wintertime for me.
Now, you were saying that you actually believe that, and you've proven that even taking some classes or getting into learning how to drive a go-kart can really help you in your quest to be a go-kart racer or even above your grandson.
Yeah, I have my grandson Logan Schuhart, and he's, you know, he naturally runs my go-kart track all the time, and I've showed him how to run the lines and how to move around the racetrack and etc. Well, last summer somebody gave us a cart, and I had a few friends of mine help me sponsor it, and we took it to Hunterstown, and he drove it better than I knew what to do to the cart, because he would, a lot of races, he'd run second or third when I had the cart all messed up, because they'd pass him, he'd pass him back, and then he ended up, and we didn't know how the point system really worked. We missed 2 or 3 races, so he ended up running 4th in points. He got Rookie of the Year over everybody there. He got, he won, I think, 2 races and ran about 6 seconds, and he did an excellent job. I mean, it's fun for me to go there. It's like going to Williams Grove and owning a car, because it's exciting, it's fun, it's intense. But he did learn a lot from running my go-kart track. Plus, he seems like he has that little instinct in there, that killer instinct to win.
Got a little bit of that Allen blood in him.
Well, he gets mad. If I don't have the car right, he tells me it's junk, and he says, he's mad at me. So he has that part.
Well, you've got quite a few carts down there that you got to maintain at Allen's Cartway. You were talking, Stace asked you earlier, and you think you come up with about 50 or 60 of them. You hand build all those carts?
No, some of them I traded and whatever. We did build about 30 of them, or I think at least 30 of them we built. Yeah, we built about at least 30 of them. The rest of them we traded to run, because we try to have cars for the family, for cars that the kids can ride, to learn to drive a little bit. And then we have, even the midgets we run them at 2 speeds. When they're 18-year-olds, we run them at slow speed unless they've learned how to drive them right. Once they've learned to drive them, then we run them at the fast speed. And then we have little cars for kids, 4, 5, 6-year-olds to drive around. We have different cars for different classes. But there is a lot of cars to keep up, especially the midgets. When you run them fast, we go through a lot of motors, a lot of parts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you said you even have like NASCAR cars. I know you were working on them now, but...
Yeah, I traded and got some NASCAR. We don't run them because they're too heavy and they hit too hard. I want to use the bodies and build a lighter car, and one that we feel we can run little races. We keep dreaming of getting them done. That way then, like if, they had a race at the same times, Daytona was running this summer, we'd run a race there called the Daytona race and make them run and have pit stop, but we haven't got to that yet.
What is the hours of operation for the Speedway coming up, say, in the spring, or does it change?
Well, yeah, it changes. Right now, we run it Friday nights, we open at 5 till basically 5 to 9, and then on Saturdays and Sundays, we open 11. And then we open it, sometimes we have private parties all during the week, like we had one tonight from 5 to 7:30. Anytime they call up and they schedule a party, we run, or somebody calls up anytime during the week. Now, once school lets out, we're open every day at 11 till 10 at least. On the weekends, we're open until midnight.
Okay. And of course, you were talking parties, you can book private parties down there, and then you got the run of the place. Is that how it works?
Right. We book these private parties where they run. They do basically the same thing like a race. They have, warm-ups, heat races, feature. We give them a little trophy, and basically that's about it.
Right. We have another phone call. Hi, welcome to Race Night. You're on the air.
Yes, I just wanted to tell Bobby Allen that I enjoyed watching him in the mid-'70s and when he was a regular at Lincoln every week, and with the Outlaws the whole time that he was racing with them, and he brought a lot of good memories to the times when I've been going to the races.
Well, thank you. I remember that too, because I remember when I used to race here, at that time you'd have people like either Steve Smith or like me, or like somebody else, they'd like me. And then when I went away and kind of ran with the Outlaws, I'd come back in and run. They actually felt like I was their hometown boy, so I gained more fans then. More people rooted for me. So it always made me feel good when I came back with the Outlaws.
Well, that was the thing. I mean, there was a lot of Steve Smith fans there, and there was a lot of Bobby Allen fans there, and I was one of your fans as compared to your competitor. I mean, but that's what makes things exciting.
Yeah, that's what I mean. A lot of them that wasn't my fans when I ran here regular, they became my fans when the Outlaws come in, so that was a good thing.
And I also talked to a older fellow from Florida that told me to tell you to say hello, and that's Sammy Packard from Daytona.
All right, yeah, that's good. That's where I was born.
Yeah, and Sammy told me last year that he would like to come up here and see you and Steve and Lynn Paxton. And I go every year in July to the 400 race, and he's probably like 89 or 90 years old now, and he is still getting around pretty good though.
We'll have to talk to him and figure out how to do that.
Well, I don't know how he does it neither, because I just asked my buddy, he was down over the winter, how Sammy was doing, and because I was wondering how he was getting around anymore, and he's still getting around good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, thanks for giving us a call right here on Race Night. Brings up a good question. Of course, the Smith-Allen thing down at Lincoln was always a hot topic, and the Grove. Who was your toughest competitor? Can you pick one out and say, man, if there was so many times I'd like to beat somebody, it'd be that guy?
Well, it all depends on, I mean, naturally, you want to win against anybody, but like Steve at Lincoln, I mean, you wanted to win. We were friends, so I mean, definitely you still wanted to win no matter what. I mean, it wasn't like you were enemies. You just wanted to win against each other. But I mean, Opperman, I mean, any of them, Paxson, Opperman, anybody, whoever was winning at the time, you wanted to beat them. I mean, that was just the way it was. They wasn't really. I didn't ever have it out there. I just wanted to beat that guy. I wanted to beat whoever was winning. I mean, it was always fun.
Just wanted to win the races.
That's what you wanted to win the races. That's always got me. It always seemed funny to me when people would be mad because Kinser was winning all the races. Well, I always felt it wasn't Kinser's fault he was winning the races. It was everybody else's fault because they weren't trying hard enough to beat him.
That's a good point. That's an excellent point. Do you think...
Yeah, but you don't want to look at it that way.
Well,
yeah, it is that way.
It is that way.
Well, I know that, but you don't want to think of it that way.
That gives you that extra drive he was talking about earlier
That's true.
to go out and try and do better. Do you think you guys helped out each other a little bit more when you were out on the road or even around here? I know hear many stories about guys sharing garages and that kind of stuff to stay running. Do you think that made you a little bit tighter of a knit group than what's out there now?
Well, yeah. Well, actually, you talking about the Outlaws or racing here?
Well, in either case, I'm sure when the Outlaws
when the
started...
Outlaws, yeah, when everything's got, the more gets money into it, and the more you get big sponsors, the more you get whatever, they get to where they're not allowed to talk to each other. They got to run their deal. They're not allowed to talk to each other. When the Outlaws first started, yeah, everybody talked to each other about everything. I mean, they were secrety a little bit, but not hardly. They'd always want to help the other guy run good because they wanted him to feel good. The mechanics are more secret than the drivers. The drivers want to think that they can win in anything, and the mechanics want to think they're the reason it won, so they'll be more secrety than the drivers. But they always told each other everything, and it always escalated. I mean, it's still that way with the Outlaws. They still do it a little bit, but as the money grows and their sponsors, well, then they get to where they're a lot more secrety in the last few years than they have been in the past.
Mm-hmm. You'd built some of your own chassis in years past, sprint car chassis. Are you building any more yet? Do you have any plans to build any more?
No, I can't weld or see right anymore. No, I used to build all my own cars. I always felt like I had a little edge, and I just liked doing it. And then as the years went on, in the last 10 years, they've got to where I mean, you can just buy it. Everybody has the best stuff now. I mean, there's no reason to build your own stuff unless you just like doing it.
Okay. 334-3000 is the number. We've got about 10 minutes left in the show here. We're talking with Bobby Allen, go-karts and sprint car racing. There again, years past, you were always noted for having one of the lighter cars out in the track. Am I correct?
Right.
Nowadays, everybody's flyweight, and now they're actually talking about a weight rule, trying to get these things a little bit more heavier. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not for the weight rule. I mean, today anybody that runs with their World Outlaws, they're all basically the same. They've got them as light as they can be. As long as they're in 20, 30 pounds of each other, it don't make no difference. I mean, I can tell that with my go-karts around there. I got some that are 30 pounds heavy and 20 pounds. It would make a bigger difference, make it with them, and it doesn't. Right. It's more driving and how the car handles. But, I mean, I believe in weight as long as it's strong enough. I mean, I think that that's usually an excuse. I mean, they probably would save maybe $5,000 per building cars, but today everybody has that stuff or they can buy it used from somebody else. I just see it being more of a pain weighing them and whatever, but that's just the way I feel.
Okay, we'll take a phone call. Hi, welcome to Race Night. You're on the air.
I got a question I got to ask Bobby. If you're a little bit younger, you think you could outrun Raymer?
That's an excellent question.
If I was a little bit younger,
yeah,
and I still rate, yeah, I think I can.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, that's just a little pick in there. That's all.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks for giving us a call right here on Race Night. That is a good question. That is an excellent question.
Always go out and try.
Yeah. Do you have any ambitions of even getting back in one?
I did for a while. I sold most of my stuff to try to build that indoor track. I thought I was going to make all this money at the go-kart track and be able to race one time in my life without not running off of what I won as to put money in it. Well, as time goes by, I got a little older and I haven't raced in like 5-6 years, and now I feel like I'm too old. I mean, it's you don't see as good at night when you're older. They always got it backwards. When you're young and brave, when you're young, you're brave. You ain't worried about getting hurt or whatever. When you get old, then you're worried more about getting hurt or not. And they have it backwards. It should be the other way around. Being old, what would it matter then? But, no, I mean it's just right now it's running my grandson. I guess running the go-kart track and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong. If I ever did, everybody wished they could win the lottery. Well, if I'd win that, naturally that's the first thing I'd do. I'd build a race car team. I wouldn't drive, but I'd get somebody. I'd go out and I'd go run the World Outlaws. I like that competition, fighting for it, and all that.
Okay. Hi, welcome to Race Night. You're on the air.
Hi, Scott. John Becker. I got a question for Bobby. It's going to kind of give my age away a little bit. Do you remember what year you drove 456?
What year I drove it?
Yeah, what year?
How old I was 20. I was 23.
Well, that's when I started going to the races. And I watched this Todd. Is that Tommy's son?
That's Tommy's son. Yeah, he's my nephew.
Okay, and probably about mid-season, he's going to be knocking on the leader's door because I watched people, their first nights, and he was out there racing with these guys. He had a little trouble getting into 3, but it looked like 1 and 2 he has down, and for his first night, that was just totally amazing. In the warm-up Saturday, and I think he's gonna, step in your shoes here the way it looks.
Well, I think he's going to do well. Well, his shoes are I'm about size 7.5. He's got size 10 shoe. But,
how old is he?
He's I think he's out about 26, 27, something like that. I'm not even sure how old he is. He helped me for a little bit. He's a hard worker. And he had the steering wheel too far back and was rubbing his gut. The belts were wrapped around the steering wheel. But I think once he gets onto it, he'll do.
Yeah, he just had trouble getting into 3. It looked like he was setting too quick.
Yeah,
he drove in a couple feet deeper, and then he could have held because he was twitching.
Well, that was his first lap at Lincoln.
Sure.
First lap in a sprint car, so I thought he did.
Absolutely. By mid-season, he's going to be, knocking on their door.
Oh, man, we just hoping 3 more weeks.
It takes a little bit of time, but yeah, I watch a lot of people their first night, and he's probably...
I always had a thing, I think, when guys knew it takes him about the 5th week to flip it, because after about the 3rd or 4th week, they get real brave, they think they know what they're doing, and they try too hard and they flip it, which I hope he don't. Well, and then I think it takes actually 5 years to really win races.
Yeah.
I mean, you might win once in a while lucky, but then to really continuous win and really get good, it takes you at least 5 years.
Yeah, I'm a 4-turn guy, and boy, cleaning out the pit, that's the first I was up, and they did a tremendous change there at Lincoln.
Yeah, they got that place looking beautiful.
I've been going there a long time. Hey, Scott, you giving anything away? You could put it with the shirt that you owe me. If I could get his signature on a hat or something, that would really be nice.
Well,
since he's a hometown legend and I live real close to him, I think that would be appropriate.
Maybe I can come up with something here for you. I'll have to look around.
Just put it with my shirt that you owe me.
And I'll make sure you get your shirt. Don't worry, John.
I know you will. I was down with Greg Emlett over the weekend, and he's about ready. Car looks really good. Him and the guy that was answering the phone, was it Big John?
Big John, uh-huh.
He was putting some letters on it, and Greg looks like he's ready. He's got a brand new trailer sitting there ready to roll.
That's great. He's going to be at Bug Day at Trailways on Saturday?
Yeah, I have rain checks for Lincoln, and if I don't go to the hospital on Friday, I'm going to go to Lincoln. So
okay.
We'll see what happens. If I get off the line, someone else probably wants to call.
Okay, John. Well, hey.
Put Bobby Allen's signature with the shirt you owe me, or have him sign the shirt. That'd be pretty good because he was pretty decent here over the years. Straight shooter and won a lot of races and nice guy.
Well, thank you.
Okay, John.
Okay, buddy.
We'll get that shirt up to you just as quick as I got that Brad Doty picture to you.
Yeah, there you go. Stacy, you have a safe year. Talk to you sometime.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care, John.
See, you already have a 410 ride, maybe.
I have one sitting in the garage half done. The last 5 years I've been building.
Really? Be a spare for your nephew?
Probably that's what it's going to end up being.
What, now, of course, we were talking about money. What's your idea on saving money in the 410 sprint? Or is there any, you got any ideas?
No, not really, because it's just hard to, I mean, anytime you make race and pay a lot of money, it's going to be expensive, I think. I don't care what it is. I mean, I know the 360s, but if all of a sudden today, if you took the 360s and made the races $5,000 to win, there'd be some money spent on them cars. I mean, that's what does it. I mean, I don't, you know, I would say, I used to always kid and say, well, you're not allowed to have more than a $20,000 sponsor, and that'd keep the money down. I mean, that was a joke, but that is, I mean, once they start paying a lot of money to win, then you get bigger sponsors in it, it's going to pay more money, and it escalates. I mean, the weight thing, it's a little bit of money there, but I just see it being too much arguing and trouble. I don't know. I mean, but the All-Stars, they've been getting more cars, you know, to come run. It is easier, you know, to get a car and say, you know, don't have to, if you just build the car, it saves a little money and they can go run it. I mean, they might have a good idea about it, but I mean, I don't know. I really don't know, because I've looked at it both ways. I like the idea that you can build your own stuff, you can try different things and come there and run. And I don't know what the answer is today. It just costs a lot of money to race anymore.
Now, when you started like racing the World of Outlaws, when that all came about, did you guys have track tires? Or
no, we never had track tires. No.
No, it never went into anything like that.
I mean, tires is one of the biggest expense, but I don't know how to control that either.
Right, you're going to use them up, so.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, as far as like, I know cars, they have their own tire, and
I mean, definitely that would make it cheaper. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do, but I don't know. I remember a long time ago around here, they took the injectors away from the cars, made them carburetors, and it killed the racing around here for some reason. And so I don't know. I think the fans like that big power, the Wild, the Outlaws. I just think it does something, because when they show up anymore, I mean, everybody goes to see them, and you want to see them.
That's
whether
right.
win or get beat, but they do put on a show. They're exciting. Them guys, they get the thing. They do things that other guys don't do, and then it makes these guys around here step up the pace, and they do things they're not usually doing.
That is true. We got one more phone call yet. Hi, welcome to Race Night. You're on the air.
Yeah, hi Scott. This is Rick.
Hi, Rick.
How you doing?
Good.
Hey, I heard you talking to my friend Bobby there. Bobby, I've always wanted to know. I've watched you back in the late 60s and stuff myself, and when I used to race go-karts, my number was 1A right after you, buddy. And I've always wondered, I know all the time you always run the low line. Was there anything special, that the way you built your car or anything, that you did that, or is it just something that you always had the shortest way around the racetrack?
Well, I think that's part of it. I grew up running asphalt a little bit, and that's how you run asphalt, the tracks I ran. And then when I came here, when I basically first came to Pennsylvania, for years, everywhere you ran, most of the racetracks were on the dry side. They didn't really have cushions like the Midwest and whatever, so I learned to run the middle of the racetrack or the bottom of the racetrack, and it just made sense to me. If you could sneak in the bottom and run around it was shorter around the racetrack, so it just made sense to me. And I mean, I ran some races where I ran up on the top and thing, but if everybody's running the top, I just figured the top always seems like it wears out. And if you can figure out how to make the car run around the bottom or run around the middle and beat them, that was the way to do it. So I always figured I was outsmarting them at the time.
Yeah, the place that I really liked to see you run the most was always the Black Groove racetrack at Hagerstown, that you're always around the bottom, and you just seemed like you just all the time knew what you were doing down there.
Well, they always leave, if everybody runs up, it always leaves a little moisture at the end of the race, and you can fire off the bottom. I mean, I don't know, if you watch Carl Kinzer and Mark, I mean, they run high, but they don't run high as the rest of them. He makes that car stick about 2 grooves down from the rest of them, and it gets momentum with that car, and they seem to win the most race. So they don't run the bottom, but they don't run high. They don't really run in the cushion. They run a little bit below that, and when the tracks are slick and they make that car work, and that's when they always seem to win them kind of races. And so they do it a little bit different, but with the same idea, a little bit shorter, and you can always, if you run a little bit shorter just as fast, you're faster.
Okay. All right, Bobby, I guess it's about time to get off here. My son and he raced a little bit this winter here and just got done a week or two ago. I think I'm going to give it a shot here come the spring and the summer here when I can.
Okay, good deal.
All right, Bobby, take it easy. See you guys later.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks for giving us a call right here on Race Night. And folks, that is going to be it for our program here this evening. Bobby, Alan, I'd like to thank you for coming up here and chatting with us on Race Night. It's been a pleasure to have you up here. Folks out there, get down to Alan's Cartway. Pick up on some of these races he has going on down there, as well as just gathering up the family and going out for an afternoon or an evening of fun here in the springtime down Allen's Cartway. It is a blast down there for sure, and it's been quite a few years since I was down and rode in one of those, but we certainly will be down again. And in fact, we're going to get some cameras down there at one of these sanctioned races, as we'll call it, and so we'll have some footage here that we'll play on Race Night to show you fans what's going on down there at Allen's Cartway this year. Once again, I'd like to thank you for taking the trip up here to Gettysburg.
Thank you for having me. I like it.
See, it was a lot easier than you thought it was.
No, it's the same.
It's the same. Okay, that's it, folks. Don't forget, lots of racing happening this weekend. Stacy and I will be at Trailway Speedway on Saturday afternoon. We'll try and see if I can fit into a legend car.
We'll see.
If not, maybe I'll just load up and go down to Allen's Cartway. He says I can fit in one of them. So until then, on behalf of my co-host Stacy Eastwood, my name is Scott Hawkins-Smith. Thank you once again for watching Race Night. We'll see you right back here live next week at 7 p.m. See you at the races, folks.